Hello everyone. Today I am going to be making a recipe for the slug burger. I will have the link to this particular recipe in the description. So let's get started. The original recipe calls for 1 pound and 1 cup, and I'm cutting it in half, so that is actually a half a pound and of ground beef and a half a cup of instant mashed potatoes, and then we are adding some salt and some pepper, and then this right here is called sassy salt. It's a little bit on the spicy side, so I didn't put as much in there. I really like it though. It's something that I got at a craft fair up where I live, and then we're just going to mix it together. I mean, you could see me there mixing it together, but I do have to say that this felt really kind of just gross on my hands, the way the mashed potato flakes were just kind of just sticking all over my hands, and it was really kind of yucky. I wish I would have wore a glove, and I would suggest that if you do make this recipe, definitely wear some kind of glove over your hands, some kind of plastic or latex glove. So then I'm going to come back here in a second, and I'm gonna make some golf ball sized meatballs out of this meat. I'm gonna try to get as many as I can. So I just have to say that I just really enjoy hamburgers. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that, enjoy hamburgers as well. So I like to try to make hamburgers all different kind of ways. And it's not necessarily because I don't like just regular hamburgers, because I do like regular hamburgers. And honestly, me and Mom just had McDonald's yesterday, so it was my treat, of course. But we had McDonald's yesterday, and sometimes just a good old-fashioned McDouble from McDonald's is good enough. But homemade hamburgers always taste better than, whatever restaurant you're going to go to and buy hamburgers from, because you make them exactly the way you like them and you want them. If you want them extra thick or extra skinny or extra flat or what have you, and you can mix in whatever really you want with hamburgers. So but I like to try all different kind of recipes for hamburgers, and that's why I decided, hey, why don't we just try out this recipe for slug burgers? I've seen it on YouTube videos on and off, probably for the last like 10 years at least, and everybody that does them different. There's all different kinds of recipes to do them different. You know what I mean? The slug burgers I'm talking about. There's some people that put mashed potato flakes in it, and then there's some people that put like flour in it with other things, whatever the however whatever, you know what I'm talking about. Everybody does it different, but this is just a recipe I thought of I would make with the mashed potato flakes, and so I did. So I decided to, after seeing how skinny the first two came out, I thought I'd make these a little flatter by combining the last four into making just two larger ones. I thought my mom and I would like them a little bit bigger. So that's what I did. So I made them a little bit bigger. I'm using this wax paper so that I don't get anything gross on the table, and I can just use my hands and press them down and make them evenly flattened and everything like that. And it turned out really easy doing it like that. And I'm peeling up the wax paper a little bit just to make sure that it is going to come off easily. And these are the two of the four that I pressed down. Those last two are going to be the two that I cook. So according to the recipe, you need some oil in your pan, and the oil needs to be not covering fully the hamburgers, but like halfway of the hamburgers. So here we go. I'm using some oil that was left over from a time when I made my mom and I some homemade french fries. So that was a good way for me to use up the rest of this oil. I'm just going to move these around a little bit to make sure that they're not going to stick on the bottom of the pan. And then we're just going to let those cook. I do believe I let them cook for like 3 minutes or 4 minutes on each side to make sure that, it was fully cooked on both sides. And yeah, so I'm just wandering around the kitchen right now and I'm talking to my mom, and don't mind my cats if you can hear them in the background. They like to be around me when I'm doing this just so they can make a lot of noise and try to also be in the voiceover. So here we go. I'm going to flip it. And you see how I'm doing that? So I use 2 different items to flip my hamburgers so that the oil doesn't splash back. That's actually something that I just learned recently. Because before I would just take one spatula and try to flip it as slow as possible as to not splash back on my oil. But I seen a TikTok from somebody, and he said, this will make it easier. You can flip your stuff without having any kind of splashback. You'll have more control over whatever it is that you're flipping. So, and you can see how beautiful these are looking as they are cooking. They are getting really nice and browned, and I flipped them back over to the other side because the other side just didn't look quite as crispy, and I wanted to get them a little crispier for a couple seconds while they were in there. So then we're just going to plop those on a napkin, and then I had recorded a whole section where I showed myself making the hamburger and everything, but for whatever reason, I didn't record. I'm still new at this, as you can tell, but that's how my hamburger looks. And according to the recipe, it calls for just some slivered onions and some mustard and pickles, but I didn't have pickles, so we just went with the slivered onions and the mustard. And I tasted it, and it's really good. I would have preferred them a little bit smaller and making a double out of it instead of just a single. It was really good though. I enjoyed it a lot. Thank you so much and have a good day. Like and subscribe.